Alright guys, thought I'd do an update. I haven't done one for a while. Why not? First one has been really busy because I had five companies wanting to recruit me. The one in Ireland near Cork, looked at it, the cost of living is just too high there. Because I would maintain Spain and then I'd look at the costs. In Ireland, I was looking at it from two objectives. First one being work, make money, and the other one was the YouTube aspect because it's a very popular place for Americans, where we were. But the problem I found is the cost of living there was on par or more expensive than London, um, and it just didn't make any sense because, in all honesty, if I work in London, I could bump the money up for my work to cover the costs of London expenses, but in Ireland, there wasn't that opportunity. So I had to knock that on the head. Even though they wanted me to go there, they wanted me to fly there, they wanted to show me around and everything else, I just thought this ain't gonna work. So I knocked that one on the head. There's another one in London. They're still wanting to talk to me now. I'll, I'll meet and chat with them, but I've took on something else, which is a bit more well located in the sense of I'm not running around. Because if you don't know how I normally work, where I am, I have one sort of city. Normally, I'm nationwide, and I'm trying to get away from that. There's two reasons. One, I'm getting too old for it. I'm tired of it. You think, oh yeah, but you're not even 50 or whatever. I'm not. No, I'm nowhere near 50. But the point being is, you get tired of getting up early in the morning to go to a meeting, to get on the train again, and then head back, or you drive. You're just constantly commuting because you're going to different cities, different days. I'm moving away from that because that commute time. Let's be fair, they don't pay for it, and it can be up to 4 hours a day. So that's one of the reasons when this one come up, the money was right. One city, happy with that. Cost of living reasonable. So yeah, go for it. So that's where I am. So I'm just seeing where that goes at the moment because I do have some plans. Um, if it because one of the first things you've got to see is how everybody fits together. Um, so although we have our team, which seems to be working quite well, we've got two clients in the sense of we have somebody that manages the funds, and then we have a direct client as well. So it's getting all everybody on the same page, and that's the bit I'm gauging up at the moment. So this is why I'm not really talking about it too much. 'Cause we've got to see how the lie of the land, see if everybody fits together. Um, so I'm just seeing where that goes. But one of the things I want to talk about today is two things. The first one is make time for yourself. Now, I was listening to Brian Tracy recently, and I'd missed this a while back because I've listened to so much of his stuff. But one of the things he said is always make a day for yourself per week, and I haven't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't. I've always been full throttle. But this year, when my back gave in and the hassles with the family issues and all that sort of stuff, I was forced to slow down. Um, and like now, it's Sunday, and I'm sitting here doing a video, but the whole point is I haven't sort of scheduled to do the video, which is the way I used to do it. I used to be like, right, whiteboard, gonna do this, gonna do that. With Sundays, Sunday's my day. It's raining though, so I'm not going out today. So I thought I'd do an update video instead. Um, but Sunday is now my day, and I'm going to make a habit of that because I think it's useful to do that. And it's not about doing the stuff that you should have done already. For example, I've got a report to do, blah, blah, blah. Do that on a Saturday if you're taking Sunday off. Try and give yourself a day where you do the stuff that is disconnected from everything else. If you want to go for a walk, if you want to go do photography, you want to go to the beach or something, make it the Sunday or whatever day you like. But obviously, a day that you're supposed to be taking time out. No point not turning up to work and saying I'm having an off day. It's but one day a week is useful, just to disconnect from everything else. And I've only sort of started doing that this year. Um, when you sort of realise you're not immortal. As you get older, things start to ache, the eyes start to go, and my back went and stuff like that. You start to realise you've got to not slow down, but you've just got to be a bit smarter on the amount of hours you commit to things. So that's the first thing I want to say is make time for yourself. You deserve it. You only have one life. No point being full throttle on work all the time, because it's like a lot of the stuff that I get involved in, they only appreciate it when everything's going well. In the sense of it ain't costing them nothing. And as soon as it's finished, it's all forgotten. They only bring up when it's not going their own way. In the sense of you won't work the weekends, you won't do long evenings because they're not paying for it. Because of my industry, they got rid of a lot of people over the years. They got rid of the administrators. They got rid of a lot of engineers and put in more accountants and stuff. They introduced a ridiculous amount of process. So there's a lot of document control and stuff like that. A lot of paperwork. And the thing is, if you're picking it up and working 14 hours a day, they will leave you doing that for the rest of your life if you let them. But if you do your piece and go, you need an administrator for this, they go, well, there's not one in the budget. Fine. That's your problem, not mine. It's not being negative. It's just the fact is they expect to lean on you extensively and on a long term basis, it's not healthy. So I've sort of changed on that. But the other side of that being a lot of technology has moved on as well. So a lot of the problems come from people not knowing how to use the technology properly. So that's another problem for another day. So make a day for yourself. The other thing is I want to bring up is about travel, because there's different types of travel out there, but loneliness can occur. You could be contracting work overseas. You could be moving to a new country to retire. You could be just traveling around on a regular basis, even within your own country, and living in hotels most of the time. You could be just taking a year out and trying visiting new countries and stuff like that. But loneliness can creep in on things, and it's something that I don't find people talk about too much. And I mean, myself, I don't really. It's not a biggie for me, but I can understand it. Because you get that. Because the thing with me is, I have a good relationship. April's my wife's used to me being away. We communicate a lot, and it's part of our life. But if you're new to it, it can be quite a strain. I mean, an example of our sort of. I mean, when I was with Carillion, I was working a lot with a guy called Steve, and even I was talking to Steve yesterday. We spent about 9 months in Premier Inn hotels, all around the UK, and we spent more time together than we did with our wives. You end up with friendships like that last a lifetime because you just are connected. You know, we don't work for the same companies anymore, and there's multiple people that I still have those connections with. I mean, Ashley I was talking to this morning. Ashley, I was working with in Oman, which is, what's that? I can't even remember, 2012. But we're still engaged with each other. Scott, I was talking to today. Well, no, I haven't actually. I've messaged him today. I haven't responded because he's got some family stuff going on. But the thing is, we engage with each other on a regular basis because we're people that are used to working away from home. So one of the things you do is when you're sat in your hotel room and looking out the window, thinking, well, my wife's busy or in a different time zone. Where is such and such? And you just ring them. They don't mind you calling because you all do it to each other. because you're just like, oh, how's work? Because you've all got a common theme. You're all in the same industry. Don't get me wrong, we don't talk about families and stuff like that to each other. I don't know anybody's wives' names. I don't know if they've got kids or not, because that's not what we talk about. It's mainly work stuff. But the point is, you have a somebody you connect with. You talk about contracts. You talk about um, frustrations and things. It's just somebody at the end of the phone. Um, but at the same time, technology's moved on, because when I used to first chat with April, we used to text. Didn't have the old Skype mobile. The first ones to bring that out were three, because the three mobile had a Skype phone, and I got one specifically so that we could chat during the day. Um, but we keep up to date. I mean, it's my son's birthday today, so my wife's out with today with him. I think they've gone go karting. But that's one of the things you do miss is the birthdays and stuff when you're traveling. But at the same time, it's it's a bit like this year, because I was in Spain for months. I spent the whole summer holidays with my kids. They're dusk till dawn. Um, and I know a lot of people don't have that luxury, even living in the same house, because of the shift patterns and the working hours and stuff like that. The flexibility of travel allows you to stockpile cash, because Spain's a lot cheaper to live than here, but also the facilities. There's a lot of stuff on your doorstep that's pretty much free in Spain, and you've got the weather. So there's a lot of positive stuff that comes out of traveling. The cost, stockpiling the cash, and then enjoying it. The whole thing of making the West spend in the East, there's a prime example, even though it's only a 3 hour flight. But I do understand when some people move to a new country, a lot of the time they haven't been abroad before. There's assumptions they make that, like, their friends will come and visit them. That even comes from businesses as well. They think their friends are going to come and use their business on a regular basis. Um, they can give a bit of support, but it's like not everybody wants to go to Spain every year. Just an example. But sometimes they get hung up on they don't want to fail either. So if they go to, say, move to the Philippines or whatever, they don't want to go back if they don't like it. Reality is, though, it's up to you. Life is structured in a way that is constantly questioning you if you let it happen. As soon as you stop letting people do it, they'll create a little bit of a scene sometimes, maybe, but ultimately, after a while, they're just like, that's just the way he is, and they leave you alone. But as soon as you start school starts structuring you. You must be here at this time of day. You must be lined up to go into your class. First thing in the morning. They may have the sock inspection to see if you have white socks as you walk up the steps into the school. All this sort of very regime stuff. And then it's like, you will study this. You will study it this way. You will not question it. This is what you will do. Everything is set up like that from as soon as you're at an age they can manipulate you and what's the word? Sculpture you into what they want. And I say they because they is such a broad term, but it's to make you a good citizen, and not a good citizen in the sense of um, being open minded to thoughts and philosophy and interpretation and making your own understanding about following rules. That's what it's set up for. It's not about you being an individual. It's not about your perspective in view or anything. That doesn't come into it. And the reason I bring that up is it's your life. Now, don't get me wrong. there is a lot of reasons that you should study maths and everything at school. But also, you just need to recognize that there's nothing wrong with studying stuff, but just don't get boxed in. Because, let's face it, the knowledge you get there is often utilized in your real life. But at the same time, a lot of it is absolute garbage. Um, but ultimately, it's your life. So don't assume you have to do this, do that, do you do what works for you. If you move to the Philippines, don't like it, same as anywhere else, and you want to go back home, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. Because the difference between you and the people that people often worry about, oh, what they'll think I failed because I'm. Do you know what? You tried. They never tried. They're sat there waiting to complain that you didn't make it. And you know what? They're the sad ones. You got out your backside and you made a change. You tried something new. You did something out your comfort zone. You did something that people may not even have thought you would have done. You did it. They didn't. And that's how I see things. Don't allow other people's views and stuff affect you or judgments, because a lot of people are just judgmental generally. They always judge something. That's the way the media is set up. It's the way things are being pushed. But it doesn't mean you have to follow it. It doesn't mean you have to accept it. In 90% of the time, I recommend just ignoring it. Um, it's a bit like when people go on about me about things like the Brexit. They go, "Oh, this is going to happen. This is da, da, da." All I hear is chatter. It's just noise. There is nothing set in stone. Oh yeah, but this is it. And I may get it in the comments. But this is this. It's like the media. If you watch it from one side or the other, they're looking at the same thing and having completely different views on it. It's just a circus. The reality is, we'll know when we know. Beyond that, I don't want to hear about it. Because up until that point, it doesn't really matter. Because everything can change on a whim. It's a bit like Spain. A lot of people retired in Spain and had an agreement between Spain and the UK relating to healthcare. The fact is, they paid their into the system in the UK up to retirement. They moved to Spain, and there was a agreement between Spain and the UK, where basically the healthcare would be covered. It's actually cheaper for the UK to pay Spain than it is for the retirees to get treatment in the UK. And I'm not even going to mention the NHS today. But the point being is, they retired with that agreement, which their healthcare would be taken care of, and now that it's threatened of being removed. But my personal view on it is, if you're already in Spain and you're already in the system and everything else, and it was all set up, then I do think the UK should honour that, simply because it was how you set your retirement up, and it was all in process, and there was nothing saying, well, we might remove this. That's all come afterwards. But that's my personal view on it. So we'll wait and see on that. Financially, it makes more sense, but a lot of this stuff simply doesn't make sense anyway. In the bigger picture and the disputes and stuff that people are having around it, I just simply say, I don't want to know. So the point being is, like that, it's noise. Make your decisions and choices based on wanting to do something. If you want to do it, do it. If you want to travel a country and visit places, do it. Don't care what other people will say about you. Don't even worry about it. They'll still be complaining about something regardless. But the difference is, if you turn around and go to a new country and try new things, you did it. Who's the person that is most affected and happy with it? It's you. They'll still complain. They'll always complain. But the point is, you broadened your horizons. You did something new. You experienced new things. That's the important bit. So yeah, if you are traveling, loneliness can be an issue, but also recognize a lot of the time it's people creating the issues themselves. Um, an example of that is when people don't engage with the locals, don't embed themselves with the locals, don't make an effort to get into events and stuff. Um, you're isolating yourself from the community that you may rely on at some point. It doesn't need to be for medical assistance. It could be the fact that somebody can do your construction work that you know and is reliable. Somebody is a good mechanic. Somebody um, that has a dance group you're into. You start Zumba or whatever. I don't know. But the whole point of that is engaging and starting to get involved with the things that are going on, being part of the community. Don't isolate yourself. Um, I try to do that myself where I can. I mean, in Spain it can be awkward because they don't inform you. You know, what they should inform you. No, what I mean is there's a lack of information when something's going on because you might actually want to do something that they're doing, but often you find out after the event that the event was going on, so you couldn't even form a team to take part in it because they don't tell anybody. A lot of it's we already know what we're doing, and Philippines is exactly the same. A lot of events aren't really promoted in a way um, beyond the locals. They already know it's going on every year. It's peculiar, but it's a common thing. So it's always worth asking: is there an event on this month? What's going on? I like photography. Is there a photography group in the area? Is there a I don't know, like some Zumba? I don't know what you do. So if you are locating to somewhere, it may be worth doing that. Just putting yourself out there, trying to connect with people before you arrive as well. So I mean, Facebook's a great thing for that. There's a lot of groups. I've got to admit, some of the groups can have some right patronising people in them. But at the same time, if you said, "Hey, I'm going to whatever city or whatever, what do you recommend seeing? Is there some areas that you think may be unsafe? Is there something I should do 100%? You know, is there something really going on you know, is there something specific this month? A lot of people engage with you. They'll say, oh, this is this. And it may even say, you know what, meet up, let me know when you're here, I'll take you to such and such. Or, so you already got instant friends almost. Um, I'm not going to talk about the safety aspects because you should gauge that yourself. Um, but ultimately, be aware that sometimes you can feel like, why am I doing this? Um, maybe feel alone. Maybe feel that things aren't maybe not going in the right direction or whatever. If you're getting to that phase, move back to the goals. Move back to what you're gonna do, where you're going, what the what the outcomes are. My contracting is not about the contracting, it's about the goal. The goal is for property purchases in Spain. End of. It's the same as while I'm doing this, I will do my F gas course. I will do an air conditioning course. It's the long game. So for myself, if I start thinking, why am I doing this? I just go, because you could be out of this in 5 years and then doing whatever you like. Because if you set this up right, life gets easier. It's like in the Philippines, we could move back to the Philippines already and we could live there already financially. No problem whatsoever. Um, but with Spain, it's a bit more complex. So we're still working on that. But ultimately, it's achievable. But also, it's about realizing you did it because of this. This is what you want to do. This is what you want to achieve. And if you are feeling that you're a bit disconnected, alone or whatever, do something about it. Don't sit there and dwell on it. You know, it's like when I was in Glasgow. I was working up in Glasgow and I was on a hotel on my own. The guys that I was working with during the day didn't work for me. I was actually the company that was coming in to basically take over their contract. So you're pretty isolated. There's no connection. At the end of the day, the guys are nice to you, but they're worried about their jobs, and at the same time, some people see you as an enemy. So I used to go out and photograph the the city at night. During the day, find different restaurants, and then I'll change hotels. I'd move around and do different things. Um, and when I went up to Edinburgh, did the same. Different hotels, different areas, different communities, and just try and do different things to keep occupied. Did I spend more time with people? I met a few people, but the problem is a lot of them are in the hotel industry. um, but ultimately, you put yourself out there and make a bit of an effort. Oh man, we used to speak to the people in the hotel. They were actually concerned that they hadn't seen us in a few weeks when we were out in the desert at the hotel we stayed at. Um, but ultimately, you've just got to recognize it's a different ball game. You're not going to have the community that you have where you are now if you've been there all your life. You may find it very different. But if you're retiring in the Philippines or moving to somewhere for the long term, doesn't mean you can't make those same connections. I chat to the butcher. It's in one of my older videos in Spain. We know the woman that owns the florists. We know the woman that owns the greengrocers, the bakers. We talk to all of them. We make an effort to connect. Otherwise, it's just hola, hola, and that's it. You just go in, yeah, what's the best bread today? When was it cooked? You have conversations about the stuff around you, and that opens up the bigger conversations because once you have a rapport, you befriend each other. But you've got to make the effort. Nobody's going to do it for you. If you just go in, go to your hotel room every night, nobody's even going to notice. But if you turn around, say hello to the receptionist every night as you come in, talk to the chef or whatever, ask if he'll do your special or something. What's his specialty? What does he like cooking? Can he do something for you? Sometimes it'll be okay, and other times they say I'm not allowed. But the whole point is you've tried, you've made the engagement, you've opened up the conversation. But anyway, thanks for watching.